What's good, YouTube? And welcome to one of the biggest, most impactful, and speedy reprints Konami has ever done. Folos, just 2 months after its release, is announced to be in quarter-century Stampede, alongside greats like Petite Mob. That in itself is a controversy, but we're gonna go around people bad-mouthing this reprint as well as people praising it. Mostly, people are happy with it, myself included, but I can understand being sore in the wallet if you just spent around $150 on this card, which it was last video. Now, this has been all around the previous day, so I also want to break down my thoughts on the set so far, but Folos, I think, is a very good and needed reprint. What other bangers did they have in reserve to end up putting in here? Not a lot. Now, I wouldn't have been as surprised if they started with Perulia, which also is non-stop going up in price until the announcement of Folos, and people are like, this is probably gonna be in there too, and it immediately started to come back down in price, which is awesome. But without a confirmation, I can imagine people are gonna start playing stupid games with this one's price as well. I think with the reprints for this being in Stampede's main set, you will see this at $15 or less. I see some people shaky, scared, oh, it's going to still be so expensive. No, every single main staple that was within that core set inside, not the nostalgia pool, has been very, very cheap. In fact, a lot of people were trying to beat up Bonanza based on the nostalgia pool and it taking a card away from that set. What's hard carrying Bonanza? Let's see, nostalgia in the first slot, second slot, third slot, fourth slot, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13, lucky 13, triple tactic thrust. Finally, we get into that other side. So we can see this is a successful set, and what's carrying it is the nostalgia pool and stuff for collectors and also casuals, and then we get to those meta cards for everybody, both casual and competitive. And again, this is in time for Nationals, WCQ. This is a really good move and feels like Battles of Legend mixed with an even better set, in my opinion. Now, I am a boomer. I do shine up to those older cards. They're not for everyone. Not everyone's going to care about Trap, Dust Shoot, and Metamorphosis, but you can see online they were heavily asked for, and this is still a trading. Oh yeah, trading still happens with this game. Card game. And I think people forget that you can actually, if you pull something you don't like and you are going in sealed instead of singles, end up using that to get other cards that you actually wanted from the set. Now, I do think that they did a really good job leading forward. Chamber Dragon Maid continues to show they're not scared to go for Starlight cards and bring them on to Quarter Century Secret. Infinity is an icon. Raging Phoenix was needed. Extra Hero Cross Crusader after it got the screw job in the 10s and never got its holo upgrade. Miscellaneous source for the dinosaur fans. Masterpiece, which, you know, it needed a reprint after all this time. It's kind of surprising to see Lady Labyrinth in the nostalgia pool already, but getting up there in age when you're in Yu-Gi-Oh! For a few years, right? So, I want to go on the argument that, oh, this is bad for Rage of Abyss. I don't think so. You have Dominus Impulse, which granted is coming back down in price, seeing a little bit less play, but is still very expensive. And then you also have Deception of Sinful Spoils, which still is a good card and still is playable. This set isn't on the back of Mole Charmy and Mole Charmy alone. These boxes didn't get to $80 only because of that card. It certainly was fuel on the fire, and it still today is selling for triple digits, $100, which are now the lowest, minus 2 cents and then plus tax, so over $100. People who mostly bought in went at $120 to $135 over the previous months. Pre-sales ended up being a bit expensive, then it came back up, and now it's going down. I feel like that's not the worst percentage in the world for a reprint announcement. You're talking less than 20%, 120 to 100. I think it's like 18. And when we're looking at this, you have time to get rid of it because there's still YCSs. There's still regionals. There's still people wanting to qualify for the WCQ. And then there's the people that already qualified and now can sit back, you know, not have to go in on this card until then if they want access to it. I think Konami did an awesome balancing act here. I think it was needed for the set to have something meta relevant. I wonder what's going to happen with the 10 this year after, years and years of failure. In fact, this last year's 10 was the closest thing to a success, and then they reprinted 5 of the star reprints right in Bonanza, so it just jobbed to it, and they mostly sold for 165, although the Black Friday deals have pushed it back up towards 180 a case, almost looking decent. I feel like Stampede is going to keep the community happy for some time. I think it's going to do an awesome balance, just as we saw with Bonanza. And this isn't even sponsored. You can't use my code over on Gamer's Choice for this, but they have Stampede in stock at 1,000 a case. And keep in mind, Konami's still a company that wants to make tons of money even when they do an awesome move. This is the most expensive per card set ever, even more than Rarity 2, because per card it costs more. People just swallow the pill a little easier when you're paying less per pack. I think Stampede is going to be another successful entry within the line. Now, again, I can't tell the future. I don't know what's going to happen with a Yu-Gi-Oh set, but it seems set up for success. We already are getting news of collectible cards that people are going to want, meta cards people are going to want, and things that appeal to casual, and the asterisks of past format players, which really pushed Bonanza to the next level alongside what I think will happen with Stampede. Stampede does still have a lot of room for filler and a lot of room for cards people might not care about, and on the other side of that, the cards might surprise you, like how Summon Skull was actually towards the front page for a while and probably is still up there to some degree. Yeah, above $25 at 30. This is LOB format, an icon for the anime. It mixes into different things, and it's a card that I'm hoping comes back down in price so I can pick some up for LOB format. But I think that you will have surprise hits, you'll have some flops and filler, and you'll have an overall good set. Rage of the Abyss isn't crying too hard. The main complaints, I think, truly come from people who overspent on folos going in, and I don't blame those people who overspent. It looks set up for success for a WCQ season, and the Konami would cash in after and do its usual cycle, but they did have to sell Stampede, and that was the X factor. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. I know I have a very different mix within the community of vendors, and hey, I was a vendor the day that Pot of Duality got announced for reprint, had 14, 15 of those or something like that when they were 165 and they flopped down to 115 the next day. I've taken major hits and I know how it feels. Yet, reminiscing on it, like, I wasn't too bummed about it. I was actually able to offload quite a few of my dualities, and, life moves on. You would make more money off of the set, the 10s that have the super rare dualities. I made tons off of those over time, way more than I ever did the secret rares. The secret rares were just more in one go and great trade bait on top of it. This Stampede offers you, again, with the nostalgia pool, the quarter century secrets, stuff like that, a way to make more money off of those cards once again, at least in my opinion. Dealing in tons and tons of fooloses is better than one giant foolos. For the players that are stuck with it, though, yeah, I feel you. I would have wanted to set up for the WCQ season also if my head was super in the game. And it does seem like the quarter century secret rare will take the least hit out of this. SP Little Knight retained the most value for the quarter century secret rare, and since we know that can't be reprinted, it's still coming down a little already, some people are letting go of it even faster, but most of them are still above 380, with a couple top rated sellers starting to bail. I think this will lose the least percentage, but that's why people go for these super top end cards, because they aren't going to be replicated and they are the top of the top. And that leads to one last question. With Konami reprinting it so fast and the TCG running so different in parallel to the OCG, does that mean something ban list wise for this card over time? Like how a lot of the rarity collection cards kind of got slapped on the wrist. Apollosa, Boral Sword, cards like that. Savage, my bad. Savage. But seriously, what does that mean for the future? Does that imply anything with how quick they're cashing back in? Let me know all your thoughts, and seriously, I really appreciate feedback from you all, because it strengthens my content and my thoughts, and I'm able to reflect and form opinions off a lot of what y'all have to say, and I appreciate it.